This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
I'd just like to talk to you about what happened with Flash. Why did you leave him outside?
Now at 6, Call 6 Investigates has tough questions for a pet owner accused of leaving her dog chained up in sweltering temperatures.
That dog, Flash, died despite a neighbor's calls to the city, and today Flash's owner is learning her fate.
Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny broke this story last month, and she's working for you to get answers.
And just a warning, the images you're about to see could be disturbing.
If you own a pet in Marion County, you have to follow certain rules. The city's care and treatment ordinance says they must have shelter, must be brought inside when the temperature hits 90, and if they're on a tether, it has to be at least 12 feet long. Jim Honeycutt lives on the west side. He says his neighbor's pit bull mix Flash was chained up at his neighbor's house in the hot sun. And despite numerous calls to the city for help, Flash died on June 27th at his owner Melinda Ryan's home. By the time Indianapolis Animal Care Services responded, Flash was already dead.
It's too late for any dog being outside at that temperature or chained up for that long, I would assume.
What do you think when you look at this?
No, it's horrible. Yeah, nobody's pet should have to go through that. I mean, it's just it's horrible.
Animal Care Services investigation found Flash's owner adopted him from the city's own shelter back in October. The city cited Melinda Ryan with 3 care and treatment violations. We knocked on her door and left our card, but she never responded, so we met up with her in court Monday.
I'm Kara Kenny with WRTV Channel 6. We'd just like to talk to you about what happened with Flash. Why did you leave him outside? Can you talk to us?
Thank you.
We're in a public area. We just want to get your side of the story. Can you tell us what happened?
No, we've been said. Nothing's going to be said. You guys can go on.
Melinda Ryan wouldn't talk to us, but in this agreement signed today, she admitted to the care and treatment violations. She has to pay a $100 civil penalty plus $135 court costs for a total of $235. Per the agreement, Ryan can still keep her other dogs. She can have 2 dogs as long as they're spayed, neutered, and microchipped. The agreement also orders Ryan to follow the city's care and treatment ordinance by protecting her animals from excessive heat or cold, moving them inside when the temperature hits 90 degrees, and when tethering, making sure they have 12 feet and 2 working swivels. We asked neighbor Jim Honeycutt what he thinks of the punishment, and he told us at least they know what happens when they don't take care of an animal properly. Lesson learned the hard way, unfortunately. Melinda Ryan did not face jail time because she has not been criminally charged, only with ordinance violations, which carry a much lighter penalty. Whether it's hot or cold outside, you can do your part to help. Talk to your neighbor if you think they're in violation. Call 911 if you think an animal is in immediate danger. And lastly, use the Request Indy app to file a complaint. Working for you in Indianapolis, I'm Call 6 Investigates, Kara Kenny.
And we reached out to Friends of Indianapolis Dogs Outside, who told us the city's penalties for the first care and treatment violation are too lenient, with a minimum fine of only $25 per violation. Quote, a fine that low is meaningless and implies that the dog's suffering and death has little value. The minimum fine for a first violation should be raised significantly to at least $200. This is especially important in these kinds of extreme cases where a dog was tethered outside in extreme heat with no shade or water, suffered for hours, and then died, end quote. We plan to talk to a city-county councilor tomorrow about this issue.
Now to a developing story from the west side. Metro police are investigating the shooting deaths of 2 people. A male and a female were found shot at North Tibbs Avenue and Lafayette Road just after 3 p.m. and later died. In all, at least 16 people have been shot in Indianapolis since Friday, and 5 have died. A new zinc production plant is set to be built in Muncie, but it's prompting many health concerns from residents. RTV6's Stephanie Wade is working for you and talking with people who hope it is not too late to stop it, and the company that vows to protect the public.
By the end of next year, this facility should be up and running. This is the former Borg-Warner site off of Kilgore Avenue here in Muncie that City Council recently approved to become a steel dust recycling facility.
We're just really nervous about
about it here.
J.C. Clark lives within 3 miles of the proposed zinc production plant.
Where the particles will get into the air and we'll be breathing them in, they'll get into the soil, it'll contaminate our soil, so we're pretty close.
She, like others in the community, have concerns about the new Wales Sustainable Products facility set to be built next year that will use 2 natural gas-fired kilns to produce zinc oxide from steel dust generated at steel mills. Zinc can be used for a variety of things like tire, rubber, ceramics, and motor oil.
I am a realtor. I've had, in the last 24 hours, 12 people. I mean, I'm continually getting calls and messages that if this goes through, we're selling our house.
Their worry stems from pollution and mercury emissions the plant could potentially give off.
This facility, if built, would be one of the top polluters in the U.S. for mercury and lead. And both the mercury and lead are toxic to the nervous system, especially for children.
This is dangerous. We don't want this in our community. We don't want this for our children, and they have the power to stop this.
They, Clark is referring to, are Muncie city officials.
Our job is to vet companies in a way that what would they be economically to our area. And this particular investment was about $85 million in a brownfield that was unsightly right now.
Todd Donetti with the Muncie Redevelopment Commission says this will add 90 new jobs for the city. It's the Indiana Department of Environmental Management's job to assess the air quality impact.
People have concerns about pollution and health risks if this plant were to go in. What do you say about it?
Well, everybody should be concerned when there's an environmental question. If we find that IDEM comes back and says that this is not healthy for the community, then we are not going to issue or fund any bonds.
Working for you in Muncie, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Wales Sustainable Products declined an on-camera interview, but tell us in a statement, quote, the facility will operate in compliance with environmental laws and in accordance with air regulations and its final air permit, all of which ensures an operation that protects human health and the environment. IDEM's Office of Air Quality is currently reviewing the permit application to build the facility. They're considering things like how much pollution will be released and how it will be regulated. In the meantime, activists are hoping to sway councilors' opinions tonight by voicing their concerns at the council meeting. That begins at 7:30 at City Hall.
Now to your Storm Team 6 forecast, and the heat and humidity are back. So does that mean our chances for rain are increasing? Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is tracking that tonight. Kevin.
And for a lot of the afternoon, it's looked like it would rain. Most of us have not had rain, and at first glance doesn't look like much is out there, but just on the north side of Indy, at least north side of Marion County, between Meridian and Fall Creek on the northeast side, anywhere along 465, some heavy downpours there. That will slide southeast toward I-70 and pass again between Indy and Greenfield, where you've had multiple downpours. Geist getting wet now up to Fishers, and then the largest area just inside 465 on the northeast side, not too far north of the state fairgrounds. Did you feel the change today? Humidity much more noticeable. Once the dew point gets to 65, that's when we start to say it's humid. We've cooled off 7 degrees from the afternoon high. We're at 82 now. For the evening hours, these isolated downpours, at least through 8 to 9 o'clock. By 10, 83 degrees. We'll be in the 70s in the morning.
Well, dozens of police agencies around the state will be getting extra money to pay officers overtime for school bus stop patrols. Governor Eric Holcomb announced today the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute is awarding $380,000 to 39 agencies for overtime patrols for the next 2 months. State law requires a school bus to use flashing lights and extend its stop arm while loading and unloading students. Drivers must stop when the arm is extended. Some of the agencies receiving money for overtime patrols include IMPD, Avon Police, Boone County Sheriff, Hamilton County Sheriff, and Hancock County Sheriff.
The Indianapolis Colts are helping to improve safety in the city of Westfield, home to the Colts training camp, by making a donation to the Westfield Police Department. Today was First Responders Day at camp, and before practice began this afternoon, Colts executive Kaylin Ursay Jackson and Westfield Mayor Andy Cook introduced Billy, the newest Westfield Police Department canine officer. The Colts donated Billy to the city. The dog and his handler will be assigned primarily to Westfield High School.
things like this are really needed, as much as it's a hard topic to think about and to discuss, and you hate to even think that being something that's needed, but the amount of work that Billy will be doing and good he's going to bring this community is really amazing, and I think, you know, knowing it's helping here, but it's helping schools and students and making them even feel safe, you know, day to day, and I think also adding kind of that therapeutic thing that dogs do, you know, whether they're in a hospital or a school or wherever they are.
Billy is a 2-year-old German short-haired pinscher and comes from Hungary. He's specifically trained in explosive detection, and the dog in training equals an $11,000 donation by the Colts. Billy is the 3rd canine in the Westfield Police Department.
The Zionsville Fire Department has new tools to help save lives. The 4 state-of-the-art CPR devices will allow firefighters to mechanically perform CPR on patients. The chest compression device is designed to provide consistent, high-quality compressions, decreasing pauses because of no longer having to switch rescuers. It can also be used in a moving ambulance where quality CPR is more difficult. The 4 devices cost $73,000. Funding was provided entirely by Zionsville Fire Department revenue from EMS ambulance transportation. Still ahead here on the RTV6 News at 6, some great bargains to be had at the fair tomorrow. We've got what you need to know.
Plus, high school students getting a jump start on their careers. What they're learning now could pay off down the road.
Training camp transitions to preseason game number 1. I'm Brad Brown in Westfield. We'll show you how the Colts are in their final couple days of preparations for this first preseason test coming up in sports.
And there are just a few downpours around central Indiana right now, but during the day tomorrow, I think they'll become more widespread. By 4 o'clock, you see a line to the north and west of Indy. We'll finish the timeline for Tuesday, thunderstorms, and look ahead to the rest of the week.
This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Construction-related jobs are among the highest in demand in the state. Mooresville High School offers students a wide-ranging building trades program. The students have assisted in the upgrade and renovations of facilities at the high school. The coursework goes beyond how to use tools, so students get a taste of engineering, excavating, and HVAC.
In addition to the skills they're learning about doing some electrical wiring and doing some plumbing and laying block, etc., the other thing these kids are learning is how to work hard and what it means to work hard in a way that's different than what we can show in other classrooms.
Mooresville offers other programs geared to students planning to go from graduation to work, while at the same time offering academic classes for those who are college-bound.
Gen Con organizers are already looking forward to next year after just wrapping up a record-breaking 4 days of tabletop gaming in Indianapolis. Gen Con 2019 ended yesterday. Today, we are told they sold more 4-day and Sunday badges than any prior years, welcomed 70,000 guests, and hosted a record-breaking 538 exhibiting companies. Billed as the best 4 days in gaming, the event has more than doubled in size since moving to Indianapolis in 2003. Ticketed events were held at the Convention Center, Lucas Oil Stadium, and downtown hotels. Attendees also raised $35,000 for Gen Con's charity partners, Game to Grow, and Special Olympics Indiana. Gen Con returns to Indianapolis July 30th through August 2nd, 2020. And Mark, it was so fun to watch everybody in their costumes walking around downtown over the weekend.
I'm always glad when everyone has fun at that event. That's a great one, too.
Well, RTV6 may be celebrating 70 years this year, but we're also celebrating someone who's been here for nearly half of that time. Kevin Gregory.
Yeah, our Kevin Gregory. On Wednesday, Kevin marks 30 years on the air here at Channel 6. Kevin arrived at Channel 6 on August 7th, 1989, joining already well-established meteorologists Bob McLean and David James. So both played big roles in mentoring the young weatherman. For David, he was a teacher to Kevin in more ways than one.
Kevin does such a great job. I mean, he is the best in Indianapolis and maybe the best in big part of the country. He does a great job, and I really admire him. I take a small amount of pride in, back in the 80s, I taught meteorology at the University of Indianapolis and at IUPUI. And at IUPUI, one evening when I was teaching meteorology, the first day of class, I looked up and Kevin Gregory was in the class. So I take a small portion of pride in saying I got him his first part of his meteorology education.
And how about that? It never stopped. You know, Bob and David set a standard in the weather office, and I just tried to follow it. But they were before the computer era, okay? So they worked in the old school.
Writing down,
working all the forecast out, and then we went to computer models, and so David handled a lot of that for us as we transitioned from tangible weather maps to the computer world. So.
And now you're paying it forward with weather camp. So there might be one of those kids that might be
30 years from
story,
now,
right?
I'll be talking about them. But thank you, David and Bob. All right, let's talk about our rain opportunities. We've certainly had a lot of dry and warm days this summer. 14 days we've hit 90 degrees or warmer. Put this day in the almost category. We hit 89 this afternoon. If it weren't for the building cumulus clouds and thunderstorms, we would have made it. 82, that's cooled down 7 degrees from the afternoon high. Columbus right now at 90, 82 in Greencastle. If you've looked at the sky hoping for rain through the day, it may have been close to your house. We've had these pop-up showers and thunderstorms build. They don't last that long. 45 minutes or so in any one spot, just moving from 465 and 31 toward the I-69 and 465 area on the northeast side of Indy, and some widespread rain over Geist. That's about it, though. A couple other specks maybe near Greentown and Howard County, and then back east of Delphi in Carroll County. Tomorrow, a different story. I think the rain will be more widespread. We should at least see some rain. 70% chance you'll have rain at your house. Wednesday, we're dry. Thursday and Friday, low rain chances, but at least the chances there. Tomorrow, as far as any severe weather is concerned, should be a lower marginal risk. Wind damage threat would be the greatest from the stronger storms. The models are very iffy on how much rainfall we would have, but they're all for putting out at least some rainfall for central Indiana. Temperatures tomorrow in the low to mid 80s. With the humidity high, you know how this works. A thunderstorm could give you an inch of rain in an hour's period of time with no problem. Some spots obviously will see an inch of rain tomorrow, but I think in general less than that. As far as our severe weather threat, the green represents the marginal or low risk area throughout the day. The thunderstorms will develop during the heat of the afternoon. 4 o'clock, Kokomo, Peru to Crawfordsville, then back into Illinois. That slowly slides to the south and east. 7 to 9 o'clock, still ongoing thunderstorms, but by late tonight we reverse the course after we get to sunset and dry out. Wednesday is a dry day. Temperatures in the low to mid 80s for an afternoon high. Pretty typical for this time of the year, maybe a little above average. As we look beyond, another chance for some showers or thunderstorms Thursday and Friday, but then the door opens to a nice weekend. Temperatures in the low to mid 80s both Saturday and Sunday, with partly to mostly sunny skies.
Bring on the nice weekend.
You got it.
Well, Brad Brown joins us now from Colts Camp.
RTV6 Sports once again on the road as we are back at Grand Park in Westfield. Day number, we're not sure. It kind of depends how you're counting. 10 or 11 for the Colts. Of course, they've had a couple days off in the span of this first part of training camp. They'll have another day off coming up on Wednesday. That, of course, is their travel day to Buffalo as they get set for that first preseason game coming up against the Bills on Thursday evening. Talk on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, last year the Colts brought in Darius Leonard and really changed the mold of how this defense looks. And over the course of this offseason, GM Chris Ballard, Coach Frank Reich, and really that whole defensive staff have really looked for more of that. Where is that going to come from? Some of the new guys that'll get their way worked in this first week are getting an opportunity to show themselves off in this first 2 weeks of training camp.
I just want to go out there and work my technique and make sure everything is sharp, make tackles, because, tackling is a big thing. We haven't really tackled anybody since the Chiefs game, so we just got to make sure that we're sharp on our tackling, on our techniques, and making the plays that come our way so we know what we're expecting this season.
Of course, on the other side of the ball, we know we won't see Andrew Luck this week. We won't see him coming up on Thursday night in that game as well. His timetable for return still to be determined. The Colts will practice tomorrow at 2 o'clock. They'll be off Wednesday for that travel day to the game on Thursday at Buffalo. Some other football action coming up for you tonight on the news at 11. Dave First making a trip up to West Lafayette for a look at the Purdue Boilermakers. Head coach Jeff Brom in his third season. Some higher expectations for Purdue after some big wins last season. We'll show you what they've got and show you where they're headed. We're getting on the train with the Boilers tonight in our Sports Extra Spotlight at 11 o'clock. A bunch of racing action this weekend, but a lot to talk about off the track as the Borg Warner Trophy is stamping another page page of its passport this week. Indy 500 champion Simon Pagenaud unveiling his likeness on the Borg Warner. No place other than Paris as he returns to his home country of France in the shadows of the Champs-Élysées today. In the new Indy 500 likeness on the Borg Warner trophy, getting a great look there, getting paraded around the French capital as well. Simon waved the checkered flag at the Formula One Hungarian Grand Prix. And we'll show you some more of that coming up tonight at 11. IndyCar driver James Hinchcliffe with a big weekend as well. He got married on Saturday. James finally tying the knot with his fiancée Becky. And we say congratulations to Hinch and Mrs. Hinch. And NHRA this weekend, a historic accomplishment for funny car king John Force, his 150th event win as he gets it done again. Another final round victory. That is an all-time record in any class of NHRA's Nitro Series. Of course, they're less than a month away from coming back to Brownsburg, back to Indianapolis for the U.S. Nationals. That comes up on Labor Day weekend. Again, another really nice day up here at Colts Camp. Looks like another one tomorrow. They'll be back in action in the afternoon, and we'll tell you more about that coming up tomorrow. Time now for a final break. We'll be back to the studio to wrap up tonight's edition of the News at 6 next.
Treatment. Call now at 1-800-ASPEN-DENTAL.
Day 4 of your Indiana State Fair. If you're headed out tonight, you still have time to catch Air Supply on the free stage at 7:30. Tomorrow is one of the best days if you're on a budget. It's $2 Tuesday. Admission is $2. Midway rides are $2, and many food offerings are $2. There'll also be harness racing in the grandstand at 11 and 6. And Tuesday's superhero to meet and greet is Star-Lord. You can catch him at noon, 2, 4, and 6 in the Harvest Pavilion.
To Radar, I say we would be so lost without you. You get it?
I get it.
My Air Supply reference? Okay. I've circled where the fairgrounds is located, and you can see how close the rain is just to the northeast of that. Maybe an isolated downpour, a couple other spots just popping up, eastern Howard County and then northwest of Kokomo. These will be isolated this evening, next couple of hours.
Thanks for choosing RTV6 News at 6 tonight.
We'll be right back here at 7. See you then.